My name is Hui Guang. 5 years ago, I was still an executive at a company, wearing suits every day, schedule packed full, looking all glamorous, but nobody knew that my heart was already riddled with wounds back then. I tried to control everything. I controlled my career, controlled my family, controlled every detail that could possibly go wrong. I thought, as long as I worked hard enough, was careful enough, life would follow my script until one day everything collapsed. I lost what I thought were the most important things: career, health, even almost lost my family. I stood at life's crossroads and for the first time realized that all those things I had gripped tightly for half my life, not a single one was something I could truly control. It was at that most confused moment that I encountered Buddhism. It didn't give me answers, but it gave me something more important. It taught me how to let go of burdens that never belonged to me, how to find true peace amidst losing control today. I want to share this realization with you if you are feeling exhausted right now. If you find that the harder you try, the heavier life becomes. If there is a voice in your heart, there must be a better way to live than this, then please stay and hear me out on these 7 wisdoms that changed my life. The first wisdom: attachment is a seed. You plant it, and it will grow. 2,500 years ago, the Buddha realized a truth. The energy you carry in your heart will become the external world you see. Attachment isn't just an emotion. It is a pair of tinted glasses. The more you look at the world through them, the more distorted your reality becomes. I used to be like this. Back then, what I feared most was losing my position. That fear seeped into every decision I made. I became suspicious, became anxious. I thought I was protecting myself, but actually I was pushing myself toward the very ending. I feared most with my own hands. Once upon a time, there was an old farmer whose only son was about to get married. A week before the wedding, the old farmer started worrying. What if it rains? What if the guests don't come? His worries grew wildly like weeds. He started losing sleep, his temper became irritable, and the atmosphere at home became tense and oppressive on the wedding day. The sun was shining bright, the hall was full of guests. Everything went smoothly, but the old farmer was physically and mentally exhausted, not because something went wrong with the wedding, but because he spent a whole week living in a predicament that never happened. None of the things he worried about happened, but his worrying itself became the real predicament. Buddha said, "The mind is like a master painter, capable of painting all worlds. Your mind is like a piece of soil. Whether you plant seeds of obsession or seeds of peace, it will help them grow, but you are the gardener. You decide what takes root in your heart when obsession arises." Stop, breathe, and ask yourself, is this thought helping me build peace, or is it feeding panic? The second wisdom: true power is hidden in surrender. In this era, we are repeatedly told that power means control. Control your time, control your career, control the outcome. I used to be the most faithful believer of this creed. I thought, as long as I controlled things well enough, life wouldn't go wrong. But what happened? The tighter I held on, the more I lost. True strength isn't about gripping tighter, but about learning to let go. This isn't giving up, but letting go of an illusion that we can shape every moment, every outcome, through sheer willpower alone. There is a Zen story about a young warrior who visited an old Zen master to ask how to obtain true strength. The master handed him a cup of tea, then kept pouring. The tea overflowed the cup and spilled all over the table. The warrior panicked. "Master, the cup is full. You can't pour any more." And the master smiled and said, "You are like this cup, filled with your own ideas and desire for control. Unless you empty some of it first, how can I teach you anything new?" Surrender is emptying your cup. Imagine holding water in your palm. The tighter you grip, the faster the water slips away. But if your hand is open, the water will stay. When we stop over-intervening, wonderful things happen. Our energy returns. Our mind becomes clear. Help appears from unexpected places. And life begins to work with us instead of against us. The third wisdom: anxiety lives in tomorrow. Peace lives in this moment. Anxiety cannot exist in this present moment. It can only live in the mind's projections. What might happen? What might go wrong when you feel anxious? It is racing forward, weaving stories, dragging you into a world that doesn't yet exist. I remember during my most anxious days, my body was sitting at home, but my heart was never there. I was either regretting yesterday's decisions or worrying about tomorrow's meetings. My wife talked to me. I couldn't hear her. My child wanted to play with me. I wasn't in the mood. I was living in a place that didn't even exist yet, missing out on real life. There was an old monk, and his disciple asked him, "Master, you've practiced for 60 years. Do you have any secrets?" The old monk said. "Yes, eat when hungry, sleep when tired." The disciple was confused. "Isn't this what everyone does?" The old monk shook his head. "It is not the same. Most people think about work while eating, think about tomorrow while sleeping. Their bodies are here, but their hearts are elsewhere. But me, when I eat, I just eat. When I sleep, I just sleep. This is mindfulness, the art of gently returning to the present moment. Every time you return to this moment, you weaken anxiety's control over you, because in the present, nothing is chasing you. Life unfolding between each breath right now. This breath is your home. In this space, you are safe. You are enough. The fourth wisdom. Most of the burdens you carry have never happened. Of all those things we carry in our hearts, how many have actually happened? Our greatest source of anxiety often isn't reality, but imagination. We carry fear like a bag of invisible stones on our backs, even though most of them will never come true. Looking back on my own life, I discovered a startling fact. 90% of the things I've worried about in my life never happened. And the challenges that actually occurred were often ones I never anticipated. There was an old grandmother who worried her whole life. When she was young, she worried about not finding a good husband, but ended up marrying a good man. In old age, she worried about dying alone, but ended up surrounded by children and grandchildren. On her 90th birthday, her granddaughter asked her, "Grandma, what do you regret most in your life?" The old grandmother said, "What I regret most is spending too much time worrying about things that never happened. If I had used that time to enjoy the present, my life would have been much happier." Buddha taught us that just because a thought appears doesn't mean it is worth believing. The mind can create stories, but we don't have to live in every story. Next time you find yourself caught in anxiety, gently ask yourself, is this really happening, or is it just a thought? The fifth wisdom. Control is the opposite of trust. You can't grip the steering wheel tightly while believing the road will carry you. Control and trust are like two travelers walking in opposite directions. The tighter you hold on to control, the further you are from trust. I can honestly tell you, the more I controlled, the more anxious I became. The more meticulously I planned, the more unexpected events made me fall apart. I thought control was the source of security. But later I realized that control itself is just another form of fear. There is an ancient parable. A man clings tightly to a branch on the edge of a cliff. Beneath his feet, an unknown abyss. He shouts, "Is anyone there? Save me." A voice comes from the sky. "I am here. Let go, and I will catch you." The man looks down at the deep valley, then looks up at the sky and shouts, "Is there anyone else?" We are that man. We'd rather cling to what causes us pain than let go and trust the unknown. But trust isn't passive. Now I trust things will unfold. You act with intention, but you release the obsession with how things must turn out. Like placing a seed in the soil, you water it, you tend to it, but you don't pull at the sprout to make it grow faster. True growth requires trust in the roots you cannot see. The sixth wisdom, letting go, is the beginning of growth. Attachment has a quiet way of shrinking your world. It starts subtly. A few cautious thoughts, a bit of over-planning. You tell yourself you are just being careful. But over time, that carefulness becomes a cage. You shrink your dreams because they feel too uncertain. You shrink your voice because you are afraid of being judged. You shrink your heart because it is safer not to risk being hurt. Attachment doesn't protect you, it limits you. I once shrank my world very small. I didn't dare try new possibilities because I was afraid of failure. I lived in a little box I built myself, thinking it was safety. Actually, it was a prison. There was a Zen master who had a precious teacup left to him by his teacher one day. A young novice accidentally broke this teacup. The Zen master looked at the fragments on the ground, smiled, and said, "I knew this day would come all along." From the moment I got it, it was already broken, the Zen master explained. All things with form will fade away. I enjoyed every day with it, but I never clung to the idea that it would last forever. So to die when it broke, I feel no pain. This is the wisdom of non-attachment. It is not about not caring, but caring while not clinging. The more you release fear's control, the more space you create inside for courage and joy. Letting go is not weakness, it is bravery. It is the power to stop shrinking, the courage to start living with an open heart, the seventh wisdom. When you step back, life begins to flow. Life works best when we stop trying to control every inch of it. The more we interfere, the more resistance we create. The tighter we grip, the more chaos we invite. But when we learn to step back, not out of neglect, but out of trust, extraordinary things begin to happen. Life starts to flow on its own, with a rhythm wiser than our plans. My own experience is the best proof. When I gave up struggling, when I stopped trying to control every outcome, life began to unfold in ways I never imagined. The right people showed up, the right opportunities came. And all of this happened after I let go. Think of all the times you tried to force something to happen. A relationship, a job, a decision, only to watch it backfire then. Think of those moments when you surrendered. You took a deep breath, let things take their course, and they worked out unexpectedly well. Your worries, your control, they're like stones you throw into a stream. They disturb the flow. But when you remove the obstacles, the water flows smoothly. Again, start with observation. Notice when you are gripping too tight. Ask yourself, what would happen if I let go of control? You plant a seed, you tend to it, but you don't pull on the sprout to make it grow faster. Growth follows its own timing. It can't be forced. Imagine you are holding a butterfly in your hand. If you clench your fingers out of fear, it might break free. But if you relax and open your palm, it might stay longer. Your goals, your relationships, your inner peace, they all need room to breathe. The harder you try to grasp them, the faster they slip through your fingers. When you stop pushing, you start receiving. When you stop interfering, life begins to truly support you. Life is not a battle to be won, but a rhythm to flow with. The more you try to control, the more you miss the grace that comes when you trust as you move forward. Remember, you don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to fight against the current. Your strength lies not in control, but in aligning with life. Finally, I want to ask you a question. If all the control in your life suddenly disappeared, your carefully arranged plans, your tightly held expectations, all your assumptions about the future, what would you have left? Perhaps you'll find that what remains is the real you, only to be allowed. When I was at the lowest point in my life, I asked myself the same question. When I lost my titles, lost everything I thought defined me, I thought I had nothing left. But it was precisely in that moment of emptiness that I saw my true self for the first time. Not that executive who needed to prove something, but a complete, inherently whole life. There is a saying in Buddhism, where can dust alight? We think we need to hold on to many things to be complete, but actually we are already complete. Those things we desperately cling to are actually the dust that obscures our true nature. When you let go, you don't become less. You return to who you originally are. That self is freer, lighter, and more powerful than you ever imagined, dear friend. If you are standing at a crossroads in life right now, if you feel lost, exhausted, I want to tell you, you don't need to know all the answers. You just need to be willing to let go, willing to trust, willing to let life carry you forward. That path may not be what you planned, but I promise you it will take you where you truly need to go. 5 years ago, I thought my life was over. Looking back now, that was actually the beginning of my real life, if I can do it. So can you. This isn't about becoming a different person. It is about returning to who you originally. That self has always been there, waiting for you to come home. In Buddhism, we say everyone has a lamp in their heart. That lamp has never gone out. It is just sometimes obscured by too many distracting thoughts and fears. That lamp is your original mind, your wisdom, your peace. It doesn't need to be created, only remembered starting today. Try giving yourself a few minutes each day to do nothing. Just breathe, just exist in that space. You'll slowly hear a voice from deep within you. It will tell you, you are enough. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to be yourself. When you start believing this voice, when you start living according to its guidance, not because you forced it, but because you finally allowed it, may you find your peace. May you learn to trust life. May you find true freedom in letting go. If this sharing touched you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel to get more content. If you know someone who is feeling stuck, share this with them. This might be exactly the reminder they need. Leave a comment below and tell me, what is one thing you are ready to stop clinging to? I am Hui Guang, grateful for your listening. See you next time. Namaste.